Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex or Nuznuz here, and in today's video, we're going to be trying some of the weirdest money-making methods on Runescape and seeing if any of them are decent money, and just sort of exploring some really interesting money makers that you may not have heard of. This is one of my favorite things to do in RuneScape, so if you want more content like this, a subscription would be super appreciated, so hit that subscribe button, and as always, liking the video helps get it out to way more people, so make sure you hit the like button, and let's get into this super fun video. So I've done a video like this before, but it's just so much fun that I thought I'd do it once again and try to find some even weirder money-making methods in RuneScape and see how good they are. So what I'm looking for at these money makers are things to see if I've ever heard of them before, ever done them before, ever tried them, if they feel like they're weird enough to be in this video. The first thing I thought of was based on another video I did where I did budget PVM. Now, when I did that video, I actually used something called skeletal armor, and you can actually upgrade skeletal armor into superior skeletal. You can do it for all the Fremnik armor, and that's a nice budget gear option, which is why a lot of people use it. Now, the normal armor, like the normal skeletal armor that you need to make the superior armor, actually costs quite a bit, and when I did that video I noticed that, and I decided to do a little bit of research into how you can actually obtain skeletal armor. Well, of course you can obtain it rarely from Dagonoth Kings, but there's another way that you can go about getting this armor, which brought me back many years. To get skeletal armor, you can actually make it by using pieces of bone such as fibulas, skulls, and rib cages. You can combine these with Dagonoth hides and actually make this armor, and these bones are actually all obtained by killing Wallasalkies. And I know what you're thinking, how did the Monsters Inc. guy get into RuneScape? No, you're mistaken, that's actually Mike Wazowski. I'm talking about Wallasalkies. They're these seal-looking, bucktooth-wearing weirdos. They're located in the Waterbirth Dungeon, where you go to kill Dagonoth Kings, and they actually drop all of these pieces of bones quite commonly, as well as skeletal boots and gloves just straight up. So I decided, hey, let's go see if we can make any money killing these. I have no idea, it might be really bad. I'm not sure if there's literally anybody in RuneScape that kills these for money, so the criteria kind of fits for this video. They're actually super easy to kill. You just pretty much need to pray mage, and if you use something like the Vampirism aura, you won't really run out of health. And then I didn't use it myself. Looking back, I should have. Using a bone crusher and split tooth necklace will allow you to keep your prayer up for free as well. I wasn't using the best ability bars, so you can probably do this much more efficiently, but it really took no supplies at all to kill these. So I did use an aggression potion when killing these, but you don't have to. You can reset aggro yourself by running out every time they unaggro you. I would just keep area loot up and look out for all the bone pieces, and then I had magic note paper as well so I could note everything easily, but honestly there wasn't much to this. It wasn't, it was pretty AFK. You could sit there with auto retaliate, aggression potions, and just kill them, and then look around and loot all the bones. We ended up getting quite a bit of skeletal gloves and boots, which I did not expect to get as many as I did, but they were actually, they weren't super rare at all. You did get them quite often, and some of them are worth 100k, and we did get quite a bit of bones. So now we actually have to make all these bones we got into the skeletal armor. So you actually have to go to Pier the Seer in the Fremnik area to actually make this into skeletal armor. He'll take coins from you and then also Dagonoth hides. It took me just a few minutes to essentially go and make all of these into skeletal armor. It did cost me around 180k cash or so, and then another around 100k on Dagonoth hides. So I spent around 275 to 300k to actually turn all this into skeletal armor. Now I spent around 30 minutes killing the Wallasalkies, and then another 3 minutes or so turning this into skeletal armor. So about a half hour, a little over a half hour doing all this, and this is what we ended up with, a ton of skeletal armor. Now the moment of truth, how much will we actually get for selling these? Will they sell at all? It could be a bust, let's see. So when I put these into the GE, all the skeletal bottoms, all the skeletal boots ended up selling instantly, and also some of the gloves. And now the boots are 118k each, so I was actually pretty surprised that they all sold instantly. The skeletal tops and the skeletal helms were not selling. I'm sure I could have left them in for this price or even a higher price, and people that really wanted them would have bought them for a stupid high price, because these are not traded very often. But I decided, for the sake of this video and for the sake of realism, to just kind of dump them and see if they would sell. So the only thing that ended up happening were 2 skeletal gloves wouldn't sell, and I didn't want to just like dump them in. So I kind of just left them in this price check. So we made about like 1.6 mil. We had to take away 272k for what we spent on supplies. So in total, in around 30 minutes, we made 1.5 mil, which is around 3 mil an hour. So nothing crazy, but these things weren't that hard at all to kill. And I thought it was a pretty, fun and interesting method. So while it's not, any huge GP per hour, hey, we still made a little bit of money here. So I thought this one was a pretty fun one to try. So next, I did a little bit of a weird one, another weird one. So some of you might not even know this exists, but you can actually use fish on a bunyip. So if you didn't know, if you use raw food or raw fish on a bunyip, you actually get water runes in exchange for it. And we all know water runes are actually insanely expensive in today's RuneScape. So you can actually use anything from shrimp all the way up to like sharks on a bunyip to get these water runes. And sharks are actually cheaper than you think. Raw sharks are about 850 GP each. So you get more water runes for the higher level of fish you use. So I decided I was going to basically buy 1,000 sharks and see how long it took me to turn them into water runes and how much money we could actually make doing this. Again, something I had never even heard of before, but it does seem pretty interesting. Now, the only thing that was kind of annoying with this is you actually have to it's very click intensive. So you have to use the sharks or the whatever raw fish you're using on your bunyip one by one. Now, if you're good at clicking, you can do this pretty fast, but moving your inventory to a certain area so you can just quickly click on the shark and then the bunyip and then repeat that is really nice. Now, something I did halfway through was I actually ended up switching to a bigger familiar. So I tried to find one of the biggest familiars I could find. So then it was kind of harder to like miss, I guess. I'm not sure if the clickbox actually rises that much, but it felt like it was easier to do this way. It might have been a placebo effect, but it felt like it was easier to click and not actually miss. Now, this method, I couldn't see myself doing this more than just a little bit because it was just insanely click intensive. It was annoying when you messed up, but we did this for 1,000 sharks, and it actually only took us 12 minutes to do 1,000 sharks once I got this situated. Now, as for the profit for this, we actually ended up getting over 11,000 water runes from doing this. Now, for the water runes, it seems to vary how many you get. Sometimes I was getting like 10, 8, sometimes I was getting 14. Looks like for me it averaged around 11 or so per raw shark, and it looks like we got 2.5 million GP worth of water runes in 12 minutes. Now, of course, we did spend 850k on all the raw sharks, so if you take this out, you're looking at more of around 1.7 mil or so in 12 minutes profit, which actually is quite good. This comes out to around 8.4 million GP per hour. Now, of course, you can only do around 5,000 to 6,000 sharks an hour. You might be able to push it a little more, but yeah, you can only do about that much, and there is a limit on the sharks you can buy, which I guess you could have someone else buy sharks for you, but although it is, 8 mil plus an hour, which is very good, I really did not like it just because of how click intensive it was. Like, this wasn't just like, hey, you have to click a little bit. This was, you have to be mad focused, clicking in the right area, not misclicking constantly. My wrist and hand was already hurting just doing it for this 12 minutes, so I can't imagine doing it for hours on end, but nonetheless, it's something that works and actually can make a little bit of money, so I thought this one fit very well here too. Now, a place that I have gone before, the Abomination. Now, if you don't know, the Abomination is a quest boss that you can refight after you do the quest you need for it, and this boss is, it's kind of annoying, at least that's what I thought. I used to try it before and it just felt very annoying to do, but the more I did it, the more I realized it's actually not as bad as people make it out to be. heavy, and it actually doesn't take too long to kill at all. I was interested to see if the normal loot had changed at all, if the normal loot was any better, had gone up in price because of the resources or down. So I decided to do the Abomination, and we did it for about 30 minutes. And the reason you go to the Abomination is for the Abomination Cape. This is an extremely rare drop. It's over 11,000 kills you need to get it on average. So imagine going 2 times the drop rate. It's going to take you over 20k kills to get this. But this cape is all over the map in terms of price. I've seen it sell for 600 mil, seen it sell for 2 billion GP. It's definitely a huge drop if you get it, albeit very rare. But killing the Abomination, this is the normal loot we got from 30 minutes. So as you can see, we did get around 2.2 mil in normal loot in this 30 minutes, which would be a little over 4 to 4.5 mil every hour in normal loot. But of course, that's not really why you do the Abomination. You do it for the chance at the cape. Now, let's say, you know, on average, it takes you the 11,000 kills to get the cape. How much does that actually add per kill for the Abomination? So for the sake of this video, we'll say the Abomination cape is around 1 billion GP. Could be more, could be a little less, depending how much it actually goes for. So with the drop rate of 11,570, you're looking at around like upwards of 90k extra every single kill from the Abomination, based on the long-term probability of getting this cape drop. So that would mean essentially, let's say you can do around it, let's say you do 30 kills per hour, just as an example. That's an extra 2.7 mil an hour for just the cape. I feel like I can definitely do more than that. So the Abomination is probably more in the upwards of 8 to 10 mil GP per hour if you count that cape, if you're willing to commit to killing the Abomination until you get the Abomination cape. Other than that, it's kind of just a place I would probably recommend going. You know, try an hour or two, see if you get lucky. If you don't, you know, hey, maybe you'll try again another time. But as for camping it, you can make good money every hour, 8 to 10 mil, but you have to commit to that, you know, hundreds of hours of grinding to try to get that cape. But all in all, the Abomination is one that I definitely wanted to mention here because, you know, it's just definitely a different one, a different boss that you can go to try to get a very big drop. So the last thing I wanted to do was test out something that I always find interesting. If you look, there's so many things you can make with invention, and a lot of us have spare invention materials. Like I have all these materials. I can make this if I want to. I can make a lot of different stuff based on just materials I've gained throughout the years that I haven't used. But sometimes there's things that you can actually make that can sometimes make you a little bit more money than you'd expect. Now this is one I'm going to be testing now, which is a whetstone. If you don't know what this does, you can actually use it and essentially restore an item, sort of like an armor repair stand in your house. Now, I guess the reason people would buy these is if they're lazy to go to their house and use their armor repair stand, they can just buy one and use it in their inventory without having to do that. Now it says these are 24k each, so I'm interested to see if we make these, if they actually sell for that much. They use base parts and deflecting parts, which I have a ton of both of these. I never really did anything to get these. These aren't very uncommon parts. Most of you probably have a few of these, but let's see if we can cash out some of these parts for any money, or if these just end up being kind of worthless. So first we actually have to buy hammers, which surprisingly actually look like they go for a decent amount. I feel like they're not going to buy even for like 3k each. No, they actually don't. So we might have to go get these hammers ourselves. So the problem with these is there's actually only like 10 in stock in shops. So if you want to buy a lot of these, I guess that kind of makes sense why they do not sell, because basically every general store has 10. There is the Wilderness Bandit camp actually has more. But it does seem like if you want to get a lot of hammers, it's going to be kind of annoying and it's going to take quite longer than you'd expect. Let's actually see how much one of these hammers sells for. Maybe we found the moneymaker in it of itself. Maybe it's not what we thought. Maybe it's actually this. Let's see. 1 hammer sells for 813. All right, so we're just gonna make this inventory and just see if these whetstones sell or if they're absolutely worthless. I feel like this is kind of a sort of a fail of a method, but I thought it'd be interesting to try here at the end, and we don't always find ones that work super well, but that's kind of just the fun of it is looking. So we go to combat support, I believe. There's the whetstones. So yeah, the hammers I can basically seem like the bottleneck of this. And then also, not sure if people are gonna actually want to buy these whetstones. Looks like it actually takes an okay amount of time to make them. Like they don't instantly get made. It's gonna take you maybe like a minute to make a full inventory, but they do stack. So yeah, let's see if these sell for anything. All right, 19 whetstones. Let's see, 24k each, and they do not sell. Let's see if we can drop it down if they'll ever sell. 10k each. Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. So they did actually sell. I did not expect that. So that's just under. That's 22k a whetstone. So that's actually not bad GP if you have a lot of the materials. The only problem is getting the hammers. Seems to be, you know, I mean, you have to go around to a ton of different shops, so that's probably the issue there, but I guess maybe like a very small partial win. I don't really think we can consider this a money-making method, but maybe, you know, a way to make a few mil if you happen to, you know, be able to get your hand on some hammers and make these at the right time where someone is buying them. But yeah, a little interesting way to end the video. If you guys like videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. 90% of you aren't subscribed. Let's see if we can get to 35k subscribers soon. That would be amazing. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, supporting the videos, and I'll see you in the next one.